Okay, so in this video, I'm going to explain the solutions to the problems that I have given you in the Assessment 1 on Basic Algebra. And we start with the Type 1 questions. The first question in the test is that you are asked to write down an algebraic expression for each of the following statements. So the first one is you need to write add 3c. So you need to write add 3c to the product of a and b. In writing algebraic expressions coming from statements, you have to read the whole thing and then think of what the statement is saying. Okay, so it says add 3c to the product of a and b. So that means you need to add 3c from the product of a, or to the product of a and b. And to write the product of a and b, that is a times b. In algebra, when we say a product, we just connect, like in a and b, we just connect the a and b together. Okay, so we no longer express multiplication as a times b. Okay, we simply say ab. So ab, when the letters are next to each other without the plus or minus operation, then that means the expressions are being multiplied. So a times b means ab. Okay, so again, if we want to add the 3c, okay, to the product of a and b, we need to write ab first as a product, and then we add the 3c. Hence, the final answer to this is ab plus 3c. Can I write 3c plus ab? Is 3c plus ab a correct answer? Plus ab. So 3c plus ab is also the same as ab plus 3c. Okay, so in any so the 3c and ab can be in any order. Okay, next is we need to subtract. So we need to subtract 4 from the square of d. Okay, so again, look at the whole statement and try to understand what the statement is saying. It says you subtract, okay, so minus sign. So what are you going to subtract? You're going to subtract 4 from the square of d. The square of d is expressed as d squared. So the final expression is d squared minus 4. Okay, note 4 minus d squared is not correct, because when you say 4 minus d squared, if you say 4 minus d squared, that means you're subtracting d squared from 4. But it says in the given that you have to subtract 4 from, okay, from the square of d. Okay, note also that the square means the exponent 2. The square root is different to, okay, square root is not the same as taking the square. Square means the exponent is 2. Square root is when you use the symbol for the radical numbers, okay, or the square root sign. Okay, next, letter C. Multiply m by 4n. Again, we learned in number 1a that if we want to multiply algebraic expressions, all we have to do is to have them written next to each other. So if I say multiply m by 4n, that simply means m times 4n. Now you might ask, why am I using a parenthesis for 4n when I didn't use a parenthesis for AB? Okay, normally you use a parenthesis when there's a group of expressions given, like 4 and n together. So it's a group of expressions. So I will use a parenthesis. Whereas if I have A and B, those are single letters, so I can just put them next to each other, and that means they are being multiplied. Okay, now this is not yet the final answer, because if I want to write the final answer for m times 4n, the convention is that you have to write the number first. So m times 4 times n means 4, and then m, and then n. Okay, m, because m comes first before n in the alphabet. Okay, so that's the convention, meaning it's like this is how we should write letters. Okay, we have to follow a certain order. Okay, so number or numbers, in this case it's 4, and then you have m, and then you have n. Again, when they're next to each other, it means the values, the numbers, and the variables are being multiplied. Okay, next. Letter D, it says divide 3a by 2xy. Now in arithmetic, whenever we say divide, we always use the symbol for division, and this is the symbol for division. Now in algebra, if you want to express, or if you want to divide expressions, which means, by the way, it's a quotient. Okay, that's equivalent to a quotient. If you divide two variables or two values, you get a quotient. Okay, in algebra, division no longer use this symbol, but rather if I say a divided by b means a over b. So it is like in a fraction form, wherein this symbol is acting as the division symbol. Okay, the order of the values is also important. The one on top, the numerator in a fraction, will be divided by the value in the denominator. Okay, so going back to the question, how do you write divide 3a by 2xy? I will just have that as 3a divided by, okay, there's a division symbol now, and then 2xy. Okay, after doing that, sometimes you have to simplify the expression. Like, is there like a common factor in 3 and 2 aside from 1? Which in this case, there's no other factor aside from 1. So we could leave the algebraic expression in that way, 3a divided by 2xy. And anyway, we are just converting a statement or statements into algebraic expressions. So 3a over 2xy is how divide 3a by 2xy written in an algebraic expression. Okay, the last one is thrice. Okay, it says thrice the variable p divided by the product of 6 and q. Again, you have to look at the whole statement and try to understand how the values are being related. Okay, now if I read that again, it says thrice the variable p divided by the product of 6 and q. So I understand it as thrice the p means 3p, and then divided by, again we use this symbol for division now, divided by what? Divided by the product of 6 and q. And what is a product? A product is the value you obtain from multiplication, or from multiplying two values or two variables. Okay, so the product, so the operation is multiplication. So the 6 and q means 6 and then q. So thrice the variable p, or the letter p, divided by the product of 6 and q is basically 3p over 6q. Okay, so these are just some of the expressions, okay, so that you have to be familiar with in terms of expressing them into algebraic expressions. And there are other expressions that you will encounter, but this 5 already gave you the base ideas, like add means plus, product means or it means you have to multiply, you have subtraction in letter B, you have multiplication in C, you have division in D. Okay, you have this word thrice, sometimes it says twice. Okay, so you should know the meaning of those words for you to be able to effectively express them into algebraic expressions. Okay, so these are the final answers for question number 1 in the assessment 1 for basic algebra type 1. Okay, so I hope you learned something from this. Do not limit your review on this video. So after understanding the basic concepts from here, try to work on similar problems in the textbook and in the workbook. Okay, so that's it for now. I'll be making another video for question number 2.